The Real Princess, a fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen, presented by Storytime Classics. Illustration from 1911 by Edmund Dulac. There was once a prince who wished to marry a princess, but then she must be a real princess. He traveled all over the world in hopes of finding such a lady, but there was always something wrong. Princesses he found in plenty, but whether they were real princesses it was impossible for him to decide. For now one thing, now another, seemed to him not quite right about the ladies. At last he returned to his palace quite cast down, because he wished so much to have a real princess for his wife. One evening a fearful tempest arose. It thundered and lightened, and rain poured down from the sky in torrents. Besides, it was as dark as pitch. All at once there was heard a violent knocking at the door, and the old king, the prince's father, went out himself to open it. It was a princess who was standing outside the door. What with the rain and the wind, she was in a sad condition. The water trickled down from her hair and her clothes clung to her body. She said she was a real princess. "Ah, we shall soon see that," thought the old queen mother. However, she said not a word of what she was going to do, but went quietly into the bedroom, took all the bedclothes off the bed, and put 3 little peas on the bedstead. She then laid 20 mattresses, one upon another, over the 3 peas, and put 20 feather beds over the mattresses. Upon this bed the princess was to pass the night. The next morning she was asked how she had slept. "Oh, very badly indeed," she replied. "I have scarcely closed my eyes the whole night through. I do not know what was in my bed, but I had something hard under me, and am all over black and blue. It has hurt me so much." Now it was plain that the lady must be a real princess, since she had been able to feel the 3 little peas through the 20 mattresses and the 20 feather beds. None but a real princess could have had such a delicate sense of feeling. The prince accordingly made her his wife, being now convinced that he had found a real princess. The 3 peas were, however, put into the cabinet of curiosities, where they are still to be seen, provided they are not lost. Wasn't this lady a real delicacy? We hope you've enjoyed that story about the real princess. Now for some bonus material, stay tuned and listen to this poem. Jonah and the Whale. Now listen, my children, I'll tell you a tale, how old Jonah the prophet got caught by the whale. The whale caught poor Jonah, and bless your dear soul, he not only caught him, but swallowed him whole. A part of this story is awfully sad. It's how a big city went to the bad. When the Lord saw those people with such wicked ways, he said, "I can't stand them more'n 40 more days." He spoke to old Jonah and said, "Go and cry to those hard-hearted people and tell them that I give them 40 days more to get humbled down, and if they don't do it, I'll tear up their town." Jonah heard the Lord speaking, and he said, "No, that's against my religion, and I won't go. Those Nineveh people mean nothing to me, and I am against foreign missions, you see." He went to Joppa, and there, in great haste, he boarded a ship for a different place. The Lord looked down on that ship and said "Old Jonah is fixing to run off from me." He set the winds blowing with squeaks and with squeals, and the sea got rowdy and kicked up its heels. Old Jonah confessed it was all for his sin. The crew threw him out, and the whale took him in. The whale said, "Old fella, don't you forget, I'm sent here to take you in out of the wet. You'll get punished aright for your sin." So he opened his mouth, and poor Jonah went in. On beds of green seaweed that fish tried to rest, he said, I will sleep while my food I digest. But he got mighty restless and sorely afraid, and he rumbled inside as the old prophet prayed. The third day that fish rose up from his bed, with his stomach tore up and a pain in his head. He said, I must get to the air mighty quick, for this filthy backslider's making me sick. He winked his big eyes and wiggled his tail, and pulled for the shore to deliver his mail. He stopped near the shore and looked all around, and vomited old Jonah right up on the ground. Old Jonah thanked God for his mercy and grace, and turning around to the whale made a face. He said, After 3 days I guess you have found a praying man, old fella, is hard to keep down. He stretched himself out with a yawn and a sigh, and sat down in the sun for his clothing to dry. He thought how much better his preaching would be, since from Whale Seminary he had a degree. When he had rested and dried in the sun, he started for Nineveh, most on the run. He thanked his dear Father in heaven above for his tender mercy and wonderful love. And though he was nearly 3 days late, he preached from the time he entered the gate, till the whole population repented and prayed, and the great hand of justice and vengeance was stayed. Children, when tempted to disobey, remember this tale, and if you run from God's call, look out for the whale, and should you stay away from the sea, God may send an elephant after thee. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation by Storytime Classics of The Real Princess, a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, and this poem, which is not accredited, but is rather clever and catchy. If you like what we do and you want to help us out, go and hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. And if you have any stories that you would like to hear, be sure and comment in the comment section below. Thank you so very much.